Hey, what's up? Vance here at Squishy's Customs, and I just wanted to do this drawing for fun. But look, right now, let's draw a 39 Chevy Bomb. So this is one of my first times drawing this car, and what I like to do when I start car drawings is I usually just take a ruler, draw a nice little, under the bumper, just straight line sketch of like where the perspective of the car is going to be. And I usually just start with the bumper. You guys can start anyway, but the reason why I like to choose the bumper is to just get that good lineup. And also, if you guys are new here, wanting to learn how to draw, I have chapter breaks in the description if you guys ever want to come back and just learn how I do it doing it the way that I do. But right now we're just starting off with a rough sketch. This is not going to be the actual car. This ain't going to be the full-on one, but just simple sketch to get things going, get the general shape of the car. Okay, so this part of the side of the car is a really big deal. That part right there that you are seeing is a very big part when it comes to drawing in great perspective of the cars. It's which angle you have to follow with the bumper, and whichever way the car is facing, whether it's rotated, whether it's a top view, whether it's a side view. But that part right there, the way that I draw cars, is the part that usually just, gives the general style, the way it looks like to appear that the car is turning in a certain way, as you see in the image right there. So definitely a good key part. Okay, so another good part of the car that is very also key is you usually draw a center line right here, but since I usually am really good at freehanding, is the front bumper. If you're getting a really weird perspective on the car, almost bringing it out like a cartoon drawing, this would be a very great part to learn. You need to center that in the bumper as best you can. Learn where the perspective of the bumper is curving. Since it's a vintage car, we all know those things had very futuristic looks in its time. And just keep in mind of the height of the car. Definitely a big part when it comes, and especially the hood. This is also a really great part to look at, and coming to where the window angles are and how far back the windows are and how big the hood is. Okay, so another great part to keep in mind is looking at where the window splits. It's a split window in the front. It's not just one straight one. Usually you want to follow the exact area, have it get that imaginary line going down from the middle of the grille to the center of the window. That is always a great thing to keep in mind to keep your cars really well in perspective. All right, so another great accessory that you look at on these old cars are visors. So this is usually one of the more simpler things, but same thing. You just want to keep a nice angle. What angle the visor is, if you want it lower or higher, definitely a great thing to look at. Just make sure to keep in mind about those angles. All right, so another great thing to look at are the side windows on the car. Really very simple step. You can see that I start from the lower part of where the window is, and I just follow that guided line that guides where the car is going, and just always follow that up. And then this is called a Continental kit. They usually have them on these old cars. They don't make them like the way they do now, but it's pretty simple. The wheel goes inside the fender, and you just got to draw simple circle on the side. Make sure kind of get it in ellipse, and just keep in mind how that would look, and you can already start to see the car shape coming together very well. All right, so another great step are, just those big old bulky headlights on the front. They're just, kind of that bullet shape. You just really want to draw an overall circle. Oh, messed up there. But you just want to draw just a circle, and then just kind of get that bullet shape going from the top end of the circle shape and just go on to the back, as you see there. Kind of create that good bullet shape. That's the best way you're going to get it. Okay, looking back at the visor now, there are little chrome pieces that go on, and it's very simple. Just follow the general outline of the way that you look at it bending. If you see it bending in a certain way, just keep those chrome parts following along with that bend. Okay, so now what we're gonna get drawing here is a very vintage piece called a swamp cooler. It's basically just a big AC unit on the side of the car. And so this right here is very simple. We'll draw a simple circle. What it looks like, you can look up a picture of them just for reference, but just draw a big old circle, connect the lines to a circle towards the back about the size of, like, you know, the width of the window. And that's just the best way you're gonna do it. Keep in mind of that perspective of the bend of the car, and basically just have it going above the roof to get that good perspective depending on which way the car is aimed. Just a quick reminder here that you're going to be drawing a lot of circles when it comes to cars, and if you need to, just get a template right here if you need to follow. But to create the headlight bezels is to just follow that outer ring that you already drew as the general headlight position. And yeah, that's just how you create bezels. Pretty simple. Just follow that out. Okay, these are very similar to the headlights, but they're just a bit smaller and they go right above the bumper. They just connect on. Same exact way you draw the headlights, just draw two little circles and create that bullet look towards the, you know, the headlight look, and just get a little outline on that bumper just to keep in mind where you're drawing those spotlights above. Oh, and here's another good key part about it is these little bumper pieces. They have these little bumper guards that they have on these old cars. So as you can see, I messed up here. There's supposed to be two. There's not one in the center. That's where one will be located. But you always got to make sure if you're making men towards the outside, make sure you keep that other one on the outside. Because if you're making two, keep them both on the outsides as close as you can from away from the bumper. It just keeps that good spacing and, you know, just brings out that good personality look in the car. All right, so now we get to the wheels. You basically just want to draw a simple oval into the shape of that fender. Just keep in mind the perspective of the car. That's very key here. Just draw that simple oval, you know, just kind of connect it into the shape of the tire. If it's a bigger tire, you would go more inside of the car. If it's a smaller tire, you would just stop, you know, wherever you want. Like you can go classic or racing tire. Okay, this is also something I want to go over. So right there, as you just saw, to create things on top of the headlights, you just got to draw, you know, that curved line. And then right here, we're getting towards this Chevy Emblem. If you guys don't know what it looks like, always great to look up references. As you can see me in the background looking up great references of the car. But since I know how to freehand it, you can just copy off here, or it's best to look at a reference. But right here, as you can just see, just draw that general shape of it. And then mine's is supposed to be kind of appearing at like a twisted angle, so it's more looking at the side rather than the very front of it. Yeah, so just draw that great looking emblem. Just keep all those perspective things in mind and just try to get that the best you can. It's really not too crazy hard, but yeah, I believe you can do that. Okay, some people struggle with drawing rear wheels. It's basically the exact same thing as drawing the front, just keeping that perspective really good, follow with that fender. And if it's a wider tire, you just go into that look. And then now here you can see me getting into the rims. So there are such thing as deep dish rims, which kind of sink into the car, and then there's some that are wide open. Here you can see the deep dish rims, as I have that little line representing that the rims are almost sinking into the tire, which is a great thing. And then these right here are called spokes on a car. You probably know that. If you don't, that's what they're called. These are usually difficult to draw. You can draw them either as just straight lines, or you can get crazy with it. You can use a ruler if you need to. I'm just good at drawing straight lines. It's okay, nothing to be embarrassed about. But all you just like keep in mind, they're just those straight lines, and some people cross lace them. Some people make them straight. Cross laces where they just cross together, make an X shape with the spokes. And yeah, just make sure you keep into that sinking look and just keep it all in perspective. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're about ready to get prepared for these markers, but usually what I like to do before I get ready to do these markers is I like to just go over with a big eraser and just, very lightly sketch away those black outlines, because if you leave in those black outlines, it's going to bleed in it. If you don't want that cartoony look, you can have it, but usually I just like erase these just so that way the marker doesn't get in the way of the black pencil, because sometimes if you put the marker in right after sketching, the pencil will actually bleed into the marker and the color isn't going to turn out so great. But I'm about to use these great markers that I got. If you guys like these markers that you see, they're called brush tip markers. I have an affiliate link in the comment section. If you guys like what you see, you can go swipe those. They're really great markers. I like to use them a lot. You can see me here testing them. But yeah, if you guys like these markers, go ahead, look down in that link I sent in the comments section and pick them up if you guys like them. Okay, so the best way to start out with the color is always use your brightest color that you have. If you're trying to get different highlights, if you're using darker, start with the lightest darker color that you have. But always just go through that top outline of the car, just where that sun is shining. Always have that perspective of where the light is shining on the car. And in this case, the light is shining on the very top of this car. So yeah, just keep that look and perspective, and just keep that in mind when you're drawing all the color. But yeah, so just start off with your lightest color, and then just slowly go from there, as you can see from what I'm doing in here. And just another great reminder is just to always keep following that perspective of the bends and the curves of the car, the round part, the flat part, and just those parts that sink in, that pop out, and just all those great spots. Always perspective is key when it comes to car drawings. Okay, so the next part you want to do for getting that good color is as you can see, I'm going with a pink, because why not? Pink's a cool color in my opinion. But you want to use your second brightest marker towards darker, depending on what you're using. Darker, make the marker color darker. Lighter, use lighter colors. But right here, I'm using my second darkest color. Just kind of getting that, darker shades of the car. Definitely great look to get. And it's always like same thing, same old. Always keep in mind the perspective of the curves and the round parts, and just very lightly go under the bright parts, because me personally, I'm going to be totally honest, these markers are kind of hard to blend when it first gets. But as you can see, just follow along with these steps. Just very lightly go under the bright spots, and then just draw right under those, and eventually we'll get into that soon about blending. Okay, getting into the third darkest color. So this is where parts of the car start to get, super into that faded look, getting really dark points of the car, which is, towards the end of the curves, not towards the top where the sun is shining, but towards where the bottom of the car is. If you look at pencil sketches, you would, in the darker spots, you would shade darker, and in the brighter spots, you would go lighter on the pencil. That's how it usually works. Well, it works the exact same way with markers, believe it or not. You just go same exact thing when you're doing it on the brighter spots. You just go right under that next bright spot on the car, and just keep in mind of all that perspective again. But yeah, just go right under it. As you can see there, just go right under that bright spot that you just drew before, And yeah, then you can kind of start to see here how the car is starting, you know, kind of getting that pop look. And great tip with these brush tip markers, by the way. You want to listen to this if you want to get good at these. It's the key to these markers are pressure. Your pressure, these sometimes, some of them are different, you know, there's different types of markers out there, but the key tip to these markers are pressure, how long you hold, and definitely stillness. When you're drawing markers like this, you do not want to get into any mess up spots. Trust me, it sucks. Just a key tip, don't be retarded like me. Always look at your spots. I mean, it's not too big of a deal, but just go back and color them. Okay, so if you want to get a really well blended look with these markers, as you can see, I'm using that second brightest color. Second brightest, the second one that I used after that, the lightest color. As you can see, I'm very lightly going over these bright spots, and you can see it starts to bring in almost like an orangish, like tangerine. It's like a pretty weird color, but this right here is gonna separate it all out. You can, of course, you can keep it like this if you want to keep a nice cartoony look, but right here, in my personal opinion, it's just what makes it really good looking. I like to blend things better in my way, but hey, you guys do whatever you want. You're drawing. Alright, so go ahead and bring out that last dark color right here. This is the darkest color that you want to go. You could choose to go darker if you want, but this is the darkest that I decided to go. Almost like a purple instead of a pink, as you can see. Sometimes the marker cases that come in are usually like in, like, you know, that color code, like how they're supposed to be, like, you know, how it goes to like red, yellow, and then goes to orange and stuff, like, or yellow and orange. But this is the darkest color from when it starts transitioning from pink to blue. Purple meets you in the middle, and that's going to be the darkest color after pink. So you always want to use that darkest color, and sometimes it can be a different color, like you know, orange per se. Like brightest color would be yellow, and the darkest color for yellow will be orange. It works like that. But as you can see, same exact thing going down towards those spots, going shading right under that third brightest color. But you can also see here that I'm shading towards the very bottom of the car. These are the spots that are getting the least amount of light, and this is key to thinking about this when you're doing these drawings. Is, as you can see there, I'm just like, you know, just going right under those lines and just, you know, keeping it a nice blend, making it darker, and yeah. Okay, so now if you want to learn how to blend really well all these great marker colors, so I'm using that exact same marker again, that second brightest color, remember that second, and you could see it like really brings out the color in those markers. It like almost completely changes it. That's the thing with these markers. That's why I think they're really cool when it comes to these types of drawings. But you can see I'm going over the entire drawing with this pink marker. I'm just, kind of using it light, but you can see I'm going over this entire drawing, and look at the way that's turning out. If you guys got it this far, go ahead and just, hit me that like and subscribe. That'd be pretty sweet, turn on that notifications bell for more stuff like this. But anyway, back to it. Definitely like, go over that entire car. Oh, missed a spot again. You see that? But just go over that entire car with this light, with the second brightest color. If you want it in different tints, you can choose a different color. But me personally, when it comes to brighter colors like this, I use the second brightest, and that just brings out the good look in it. Dang it, missed a spot. Make sure to go over your spots again. Okay, so as you can see, me doing this again is taking out that darkest color, and this brings out a thick cartoony look in the car. And you can see I'm just going over that one last time, just getting the darkest color to really pop out. You can see in that fender area right there, that's just what it does. Like if you want to do that, you can start shading all that right there again, and that just really brings out the darkest colors. Because if you see in the dark colors, there are these white lines that show, and to get rid of those is to just go over it with multiple markers again. And now we are whipping out the black outline markers. These are probably some of the coolest markers that I've gotten. They come in super small sizes that almost look microscopic. Oh, there's my cap. They come in really microscopic spots, and they're just like super good markers. These are also going to be in the link to this description to the if you guys want to get these, I'd highly recommend them. They're great. Super bold, and basically the exact same here. All of those black sketches that you do that are going around, like basically that pre-sketch, you are just going over that entire thing again with the thinnest marker. I always like to start out with the thinnest marker because it really shows off like, okay, here's where everything's located. And then from the thinnest marker, just start getting to get bigger and bigger markers. And this is just going to bring it out really well. Make sure to get those tires and stuff. And then, yeah, just always follow those lines. Keep in mind of all that perspective. And yeah, you're basically just redrawing the entire pre-sketch here. Just going around every color. Where everything's not colored, just go around all of it. Alright, so as you can see here, as I started to use a thicker marker, this is going to get, just kind of like a better outline of things. This is for like, bigger parts that are being outlined. If you want to bring out that cartoony look, thicker marker is always the best way to go because, that's just the way, it's the way cartoons really pop out, is they just get that thick black outline. It's just really great to use. Make sure to go over all the details now. Don't leave anything out. Okay, so another thing you can do, as you can see me just did there, you can use these as almost like a sketch. Like if you were to, like, you know, just lightly sketch over a paper, you can use it like that too. Like just use the sketching as a pencil, whatever makes you comfortable, it's fine. But what I personally like to do the best is just kind of go straight. It makes the lines look cleaner and you don't have to go over them at all. And make sure you don't forget that Chevy logo, you know? Okay, switching away from those bright paint colors, now we're getting towards chrome. The chrome is the shiny part on those cars that only really comes on the old cars. Never really see it, but this is a great way to learn. Like keep your ears open and eyes open the way this works. So you always start off same way with the bright colors. Usually use grays, but always start off with those bright colors. The darker colors go towards the bottom, and you use brighter colors on the top, and there is a white space in the line. And right here you can see me mess up with the blue. I'm like, oh, that looks awful. So it's okay, simple mistake. But yeah, just go over all of that with a light gray. Like as you can see here, just go over it with a light gray. You can even go with multiple grays as I did here, but start with a light gray, go to the darker gray, and then get that, like, you know, a top over, get a little bit of a blue in there. Because if you look at the blue, if you were to look up a picture of chrome, which totally do if you need help with this, if you look at chrome, it has a sunlight, and almost like if you want this to look like it's outside, you would add a blue, like you would add blue to it on towards the top where the sky is. Like right here, as you can see, I'm outlining this with almost like a grayish blue color. This is probably the best it's gonna get. Don't go too crazy with the blue, because as it said, it's just a simple detail showing where the sky is located. And yeah, make sure you go over all those details. Don't want to miss anything. Oh, and yeah, you got to go over every single spoke. Yeah, that's a process with drawing cars. It can suck. As you can see, I do it pretty fast here. But hey, go as slow as you need. Don't rush it at all. Just a great reminder, do not rush anything. Take your time if you want it to look the best. I've been doing these cars since 6th grade. I'm about 14 years old. I'm a freshman now, so not too long. But I've just been doing these a lot of the time. So, yeah, just go as slow as you can, as you need, and just get things looking great. Nope, we are not done with the grill yet. So what I like to do is to get the straightest lines possible. It's totally okay. You're not a wussy or anything. You're not some little weakling. If you use a ruler, it's actually better to use a ruler. It makes you look cooler, in my opinion. But I am taking a dark gray marker, not black yet. We're waiting on that. I'm taking a dark gray marker and just going in through every single little line of the grill, because it's not just like, you know, one flat piece. Like the whole point of a grill is for air to get into the engine, and you know, because engines need air to move, and they need that to be stay moving and active. And this right here, all those little grill marks are just those little spots, excuse me, all those little spots that all those little, you know, little intakes, the splits between the actual grill, and that's just what that is there. We're going over it with a black marker later too. Okay, so as you can see here again, is I'm just going off with that. I'm using a darker marker here because if you use light markers, in my opinion, if you get this exact same kit, the lighter marker you will see doesn't really show as much. So I use the darker marker, and yes, These come in dual tips. One is brushed and one is a super thin. That's why I love these markers so much. Is they come in two sets. Like it's like one's a brush tip and one's like a super thin tip. As you can see, I'm switching through these back and forth. Great tip. And as you can see, I'm starting on the bumper here. Yes. So if you want to use thin colors, I recommend starting with thin colors because as you can see, all those little individual spots create almost a shading look from light part going to dark part, and go very take as much time as you need. Kind of go fast though if you want to get a good look to it, but you go over it with that thin marker and it brings out this effect where it's not just like, you know, straight, where it's just not like silver piece painted on. You want to get that flow look. You want to make it look like it's shiny, and that's the best way to use it. And then you can see I come in with another lighter marker and I just kind of help things out, make it look really good. And this is basically just the bottom part right here. This is going back to the lighter marker. You can see I'm very well outlining this with the brush tip. Like, come on, that looks amazing in my opinion. But yeah, as you can see, go over, follow the perspective again. Can't say it enough. And yeah, just like use that darker or lighter marker on those spots that you need. Remember, lighter markers equals brighter spots, darker markers equal darker spots. Alright, so as you can see here, we're whipping out a blue. This is what I was saying earlier about that sky reflection. So this is gonna, you add very, very lightly. Do not go too crazy on this. This is gonna add that sky reflection onto the chrome, and this is what's really gonna make it look like it's standing outside. And that is definitely a great look to it. As you can see, it brings out, you know, it doesn't make it look like it's just silver, but it brings out a lot of color and life into it, showing that it's outside, showing the nice reflection of the sun. Like, who wouldn't want to drive that sweet car outside on a really nice, warm California day? Oh, wait, California. Okay, key tip to drawing chrome. Pay attention here. So I take a thicker black marker and I draw a black line. Make sure to follow that edge of the bumper right there and just go straight along to the side. Almost, if you need to, take a line of a pencil and just follow a line like that and then go over with marker. Totally easy, whatever makes it easier to you. But this right here is really gonna bring out that there's a black reflection of the concrete in front of the bumper, as you can see. If you guys need a picture, a reference to look at chrome is, you guys would see that there is that little itty bitty dark line which represents the ground or the concrete, or like, you know, the black pavement on a street, representing that thing is sitting outside. You can also do it right there. That also represents, you know, just a good line showing that it's not just a little painted piece of silver. This is a very, very shiny, very reflective looking piece. And if you guys need to look up chrome, go ahead. It's great to use as a reference picture when it comes to this stuff. And also, as you can see here, I'm lining this up not with a black marker, but with actually a dark gray marker. This is the darkest marker that you're going to want to use because it really outlines the treads, because there are certain treads to get certain grips onto the pavement. But I always use that in between, and now I'm using this thin marker. This is the thin brush tip marker. Probably one of my favorite markers to use. It's so satisfying. It's super bold. But you just want to go over those gray parts of the treads, and that will make it pop out like it's not just a flat piece of rubber. It is a textured tire, and you don't just, you want to keep, it's all about textures, and it's all about looks, it's all about reflections. That is another key part to when it comes to drawing cars. It's all about reflections. It's all about all that great stuff. Gloss, like if it's rocky, if it's smooth, if it's bright, if it's dark. that's the key part to when it comes to drawing these types of cars. And also, if you look at the tires, there's that little itty bitty white spot, that white line that runs on the outside of the tire. That is called a white wall. You don't touch that at all if you're trying to draw this type of cartoon drawing. But yeah, that is the white wall on the side of the tire that you see there. And now we're going into the center of the swamp cooler, as I said earlier. That little piece that I'm drawing right there is the intake to where the air goes in and cools down. Now we're gonna draw the inside as the color, so you're gonna use the darkest color that you have and just very lightly go on that. And you're just gonna draw in with the dark black marker. This piece is very, very shady because it has almost no sunlight in it. Make sure you create that effect that it's sinking in and it's not just this flat piece right here. Always keep those things in mind. And now I'm going over with the black marker on the chrome. This is what's going to bring out that thick line. It's going to make it look like, you know, really good looking. Or actually, it's not black, it's a gray. I'm sorry. But yeah, just get that really great look. And that's what, you can see it's starting to bring out that chrome really, really well. And that is one of the things that you want, is just to get things looking good. Windows. Okay, this is a very crazy part. You need to listen to this. So usually what I do is I take the brightest color, and you can add interiors. Me personally, I don't like interiors. I can still do them, but they're really hard to do. But you start off with the light marker and just kind of get this bulge, and then you're going in with the dark black marker that's super thin, and you're going to draw these very, very, very fine lines on the paper, and you're almost going to just do streaks. You're not going too crazy. You're just doing nice separated streaks. If you spread the streaks apart enough, it's going to create that effect where it looks like it's glossy. And you're going to want to use that. I'm outlining the stuff right here. This is where we're getting towards the end of the drawing. This is just outlining some small stuff, adding, you know, just like little simple details. That's what makes it key. But always keep that in mind when it comes to drawing glass and windows. The separated lines you make is what's going to make it look like it's reflective. Same thing here. There's little bulbs in there. I draw those. And then I start off with these little lines. Use reference photos. This is what's going to make it easier. And you can see that I draw these little lines because there's a textured, almost like just a grill mesh on there, and just this texture that makes the lights separates them from now, because they were made out of real glass and not cheap plastic these days. And now we're taking in with the yellow because the spotlights on below are yellow. If you need to look up pictures of that, you can. But I just go with the really light yellow. I'm not doing too much with these. And if you layer them, it actually makes them darker. Sometimes you don't even need to use dark markers. You can just layer it over and over again. And then I take that black marker, go over it with those nice grill pieces, you know, and just make that thing look pretty. You can really see it starting to come alive here. And guess what? Back to the grill. So we're gonna take another thin marker. It's usually like a 0.3 is what I think I'm using, and we're just gonna go over those dark lines. If you want to go in between the dark lights, it's gonna separate the black pieces with the dark lines too, and it's gonna create a really cool effect. If you look at it from above, you're not seeing too much, but if you look down, it's all about the small details. But this is what's gonna add that great look to it. As you can see here, that's what's gonna make it, you know, just like, it's not like, remember, it's not just this flat piece of metal, it is a grill. Like, it sounds like what it is. So yeah, and that's very simple. You just create those black lines. Go over that window one more time with that very dark black marker. I'm using this very lightly. Like, it's all about that. As I said earlier, pressure is key. And no matter what marker you're using, if you're using a full black marker like a Sharpie, pressure don't matter. You're gonna look like a psychopath doing that. But yeah, you just draw all those simple things, and now you can see here I'm outlining the license plate. This is what I usually do very last of the drawing, and I like to make it yellow to get that original look and make sure that is smooth. That is a smooth piece of metal. No need to do anything there. And I also, like, if you want to make it look gold, I like to use the exact same color in this picture right here. You can use any other color to use gold because it's not a yellow, it's more of like a brown. But yeah, you can see that I start to outline things here. I use the black marker on the window to finish out that pattern to make it look like it's very, very reflective because it's more shinier, as you can see. And when you look at it, it's starting to bring out that really crazy looking effect. I know, it's pretty sweet. But same thing, the closer the lines are together, the darker it's gonna look. And this is where I start to, you know, dark outline parts like this. And this is where I start drawing, oh yeah, California. This is where these types of cars, they're called lowriders, originally were invented. And that's why I chose to do this, because that is an original car. That style of cars was invented in California. So now I take the lightest marker and I am doing a very light shadow on the bottom because, you know, give some life to it. Come on, make it feel good. So use that very light marker and just go over the bottom of it. And you can see I use this bright marker, and I'm just gonna start, you know, taking the red out And we're gonna start using this for the Chevy logo. So the Chevy logo has, if you use a reference photo again, do what you need to do. I'm gonna start outlining it with that exact same gray, the brightest gray that you can have. If you get this set, or if with any set, use the brightest gray you have. It's not like a white, it's more like you could see it clearly, it's like a gray, but always just use that brighter color. If you're not using these markers, it's totally okay. Just get the brightest colors you can and just follow along what you have. And then we're gonna take this red. The brightest red always goes first. And yeah, but right here, before we start coloring, there are these little itty bitty parts inside the Chevy logo that are these, you know, just simple, they're like these little tree things. I don't know what they're called. Look it up, like look up what the Chevy logo looks like, you'll see it. It's called the Chevrolet Emblem. And just look at that as a reference photo if you're trying to do this type of stuff. But yeah, so now as you can see here, I start to go over with the bright red, the lighter red that I have. If you get this set, just use a bright, very vibrant red, because back then cars were made very, very vibrant. And you can see I just go over the those little parts because those are going to be colored later a different color, so make sure you don't get in the way of those. And yeah, so you have to do it two-tone like that. You get that little split in the window, make sure to just be and here's another great tip, by the way. Do the edges first. So always do an outline of the edges first with your color and then fill it in. That keeps you from causing it makes things go faster, and it just causes you to know, just like be very simple. And now you can see I'm whipping out the dark marker, and this is what's going to bring out that shading to life. As you can see, use a darker red for this part, and same thing, just keep that in perspective where parts are shaded, where the light is hitting and where the light is not hitting. And you can see I'm taking the very thin marker and outlining these little grid pieces that are inside the Chevrolet logo. And you can see that I start to, you know, take this blue piece right here, or this orange piece is fine, but this is like a very, like almost like a pearl yellow, and you use this piece, and because those are almost like a pearling, it's not straight white. But now I take the dark marker and I add this, like it's almost like a diamond texture. It's pretty weird. If you look up the emblem, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I just go very, very lightly with the lightest marker because it's not a dark, it's mostly of a white. And now we're gonna take the lightest blue. This is almost like a cyan blue. This is like what I like to start off with. Brighter colors always go first, as I said earlier. Just go very light. These are called brush tip markers. The key about those markers are pressure. And now we're gonna take the darkest blue, match what the color that goes to best with it, and just color the rest of that. And another great thing, if you're trying to copy off an exact picture, get color matching, test out your markers whatever way they look, and just always get that look to the way the markers look, okay? And now we're just adding a little simple drop shadow to this. Just keep in mind of the shape of the Chevy emblem. It's not too much done to it, just like it, you can see that the light is shining more towards the side right there, and that's just really what brings out the effect of the way it's popping out. And now, since we said it's in California, what's better in California than some palm trees? So this is very simple. Just take a dark brown and just draw some simple straight lines. This is how you do it cartoony style. And just draw some simple lines like that. It's not too hard. Give it a little bit of texture too. These brush tip markers are all about texture. So just dab them really, really lightly, and it creates this really cool effect about making it look like it's branching out and it's not just a straight line. And then we're gonna take a dark green. This is almost like a weird forest green, and this is gonna be the outlines of the way your leaves are going to spread. And when you create that spread in the drawing, this, like as you can see, you could stop here just to get that cartoony look. You could do whatever, but what I like to do next is take the brightest lime color green that I had, and I just like to go over, make sure you're keeping texture in mind, and just go over that real nice. Make sure you get that, and that dark green really makes the palm tree branches pop out in the way that they look. It brings that like shadow effect into the center of them, like it's not just like, you know, just a green leaf. And from there, just like, you know, give it some touch-ups with that dark green, that exact same dark green marker. And these are different markers that I'm using. I have two separate sets, but the one that I mostly use for the pink of the car is the set that I listed down below, which if you guys, again, want to use those markers, you can. And now that is basically a wrap with the drawing. If you want, this is what I usually do. I like to add my sweet signature just in case I want to get rid of it, or just a, you know, little nice thing that I like to add to my cars. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here so much. If you followed and watched this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And I really hope you liked the way this car drawing turned out. Thanks for coming.